What's good, Lakers Corner family, and welcome back to another episode of Lakers Corner, where we talk all things Lakers. Today is Saturday, November 15th, and we got a real special guest in here with us, man. If you've been watching, if you've been tuned to the channel, if you know B-Man, then you know my dog in the building. No further delay, my dog Junior. How you doing, brother?
Good, brother. Good, brother. How are you?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. Happy to have you.
Excited to excited to be here, man. Excited to
Yes,
be here. Another day of talking hoops. Talking hoops, my favorite person to talk hoops with. So it's a beautiful day today.
yes, sir, brother. We are gonna be recapping week 4. We'll start with, like how we always do, some little news and injuries around the league. I mean, not around the league, just around the Lakers, and then some games that we'll recap some games of the week, talk about some takeaways, and then we'll finish with a buy or sell segment. But we got a lot to get into. Let's go ahead and get into it for everybody out there. Make sure you guys subscribe to join the family. You want to stay up to date with Lakers content. We do 3-minute game recaps after every game, and we do post game live streams. But I'm gonna start with the news that I feel like I've been talking about every week. I mean, I've done three of these, right? Because we do weekly recaps. This is the fourth one, and I feel like every week we're talking about LeBron, right? We're talking about LeBron, but
Yeah,
now I feel like we actually get some concrete news and
a little bit more
reports,
concrete.
a little bit
Yeah,
more concrete, right? It was just like, how was LeBron feeling, in the past, but now we are getting concrete news. So he's been practicing now with the Lakers, G League team. He's been like assigned to the team, and he has, I guess, a team target of like late November. But I guess just let's get into that. How you feel about the
yeah.
possible return?
No, look, it's looking good. I mean, we've been waiting for this all season. There are rumors that he might be making his return on Tuesday, which is just around the corner. That would be the game against the Utah Jazz. So that's just right around the corner. I mean, we've been waiting. I think the Lakers team is looking good without LeBron. So I'm excited to just add a little bit to that mix over there, and drop some greatest player of all time into the mix and see what that does to the team. I know there's been some good debates here on Lakers Corner about who gets dropped for that spot. And I think a couple of guys have made themselves undroppable. And I'll get into that here in a second, too. But I'm excited to see LeBron back soon. I think it's going to be good. And I want to get that continuity, going and building. You talked a lot about, we think LeBron is really playing the season to play for the playoffs. And I think that's true and very important. But it's also important to get continuity. We need to be able to see them play together for a while, work out any of the kinks and anything like that.
Yeah, and how do you feel like this is going to shift the lineup? Because I mean, LeBron is LeBron, right? Like we're not going to ask him to come off the bench.
Yeah,
But like, how do you feel like this is going to shift the lineup? Because also, to your point of like, playoffs and regular season, I think LeBron needs to be load management, like
yeah.
a lot more in the regular season versus the playoffs. So like, I guess, how do you feel about, how is this going to shift the starting lineup, or even just lineups in generally, like
Yeah,
lineups and all that?
it's gonna shift the lineup by dropping Marcus Smart to the bench. It's just what's gonna happen. I think we've had this conversation. I know you had this conversation with Gerald last week as well about if it should be Marcus, if it should be Austin. But I think at this point in time, just at least at the beginning, at this point right now, Austin isn't gonna get moved to the bench. He's playing really well. I mean, he's stepped up in every way that we can imagine, and I'd say even more in LeBron's absence to be that number 2 guy. I see a lot of benefits in bringing Austin off the bench. He's going to get to play against the second unit. He's going to get to create, right, which is what he's good at. But I mean, the guy's averaging like 28 points a game. Like, you're asking 28 points per game guy to come off the bench. It's going to be like, what else do I have to do to be undroppable, right? And the answer is become Luka Doncic, which not everybody can do. But
Man, I don't know, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm dying on that hill, bro. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, because yes, I agree. Like any other team, like 28 points per game, like you got to start. But it's like, you look around, like look who else is gonna be on ball. And again, I know, and we have this conversation dating back to the week 1
yeah,
recap, right? When we were talking about, I just think, yes, Austin can play off ball, but that's not when he's at his best, right? I just feel like
yeah,
you got to put your players at their best. So, I mean, yes, and I hear what you're saying and what Gerald was saying last week. I understand
yeah,
like the reality of it and having that conversation with them. But honestly, I mean, since I've been working at Zoom, closed mouths don't get fed. Like somebody has to talk to him about this. Like there's just
Yeah.
no way.
I think it will be. I think it will be a topic of conversation for certain matchups. But I guess what I'm saying is I don't think that's what's going to happen from day one. Like I think from day one it is Marcus Smart that gets dropped, and then we start to analyze. We take it a matchup by matchup type thing because there's days where we're going to play. I mean, it's funny. I was going to say the Hawks, right? That's the first thing that came to mind. I was
Well,
like, we did lose to them.
well,
You're going to play the Hawks, or I guess let's just use the Hornets for example, since that's a game like no LaMelo Ball. You not to say not to disrespect anybody else on the Hornets, but that's a team that maybe you don't need a lockdown defender. But then when we play OKC, I mean, even though Marcus Smart got his opportunity this time, nobody really stepped up. But I don't want to get too much into the games just yet. I know we're going to get there later. But when we're playing against or Minnesota, for example, it's a great example. Like we need somebody to be out there with Anthony Edwards. It's not going to be Luka. It's not going to be LeBron. It's not going to be Austin. To be honest, it probably should be Jared Vanderbilt, but I don't even know if then he's going to get starting now. That's a whole different conversation, right? But it's probably Marcus Smart that you put on there, right? So it's just like somebody that it's going to be somebody that we need when we need a specific defensive assignment. Those are, I think, they're the games that maybe Marcus starts a game here or there, or even look at this. If Austin misses some time for whatever reason, nowadays in the NBA, injuries are given. Everybody's getting injured at some point of the season. Everybody's missing games, right? Austin's already missed a handful, or a few, I think like 2 or 3 maybe games. So at that point, that is going to be a slot that's going to open up, and it is going to be Marcus Smart most likely slotting into there, right? Where did we, how does that look then? That starting lineup with Luka, LeBron, and Marcus Smart, in addition to Rui and Ayton, of course.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good answer. I like what you said there about initially, and that's what the question asks, like, how does it line up shift initially? You're right. It probably will be Marcus Smart, but yeah, I definitely like your answer of like, it's going to be, matchup based.
Yeah. And another thing too, that we talked about on week 1, remember it was like, even if Smart does get the nod, when it comes time to close the game and you need a bucket, the 5 they're going to be out there is going to be Reeves instead of Smart, right?
Absolutely.
And that's when we're talking about in crunch time. And I honestly think like in a sport like basketball, starting is starting. Everybody wants to be a starter, right? But it's not as important as like in soccer, for example, where you get substituted. That's it. You're done for the game. So you start with your best 11, right?
Good point.
And it's like in basketball, you shift them all the time. In hockey, they do this all the time. Like they play in lines of 3 forwards and 2 defenders, right? And you don't always have your best 5 players on the ice. Sometimes they'll shift. They'll have a guy come in the second line because they're constantly substituting. Hockey even more so than basketball. But in basketball, you're moving in and out. It's more about how many minutes do they play at the end of the game. And I think Austin Reeves is going to get more minutes than Marcus Smart. May or may not be in the starting lineup, but he'll get more minutes. So who are going to be our 5 most important players? It will still be, Reeves and LeBron, Luka, Ayton, and Rui.
Absolutely, I like that. Yeah, it's about who finishes the game because that's what matters. But while we're on the transition on the topic of games, let's just transition to the games of the week and some takeaways. So first game that we've seen here is on November 8th. We lost to the Hawks 122-102, and in my opinion, like one of the worst games we played all season long. I think we got smacked by a short-handed Hawks team. They had, mind you, no Trae Young, no Jalen Johnson, no Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That should have been an easy win for us, but instead we lost, had 19 turnovers, played terrible defense, got outscored almost every single quarter. So for me, this is one of those games where you take the there's not much good. I was going to say you take the good and the bad, but you take the bad, you learn from it, you move on, you put that game behind you. I know still no Austin Reeves in that game, but still no excuse for us to
losing to the Hawks. Yeah, with nobody out there.
Nobody.
Yeah. I felt the same way. I came into this game excited. I even told my wife, I was like, man, like we're about to get the Hawks. Nobody's playing. Like, even though Austin, we should handle it. Because we took care of business like against the Blazers when we had no Austin, no Luka, right? Nobody. I was like, Luka's playing. Like, we're going to get, we're going to take care of it. I came into the game excited. And we spent the whole game losing. Like, I think we had the lead in like 7-6 and then never had the lead again, right? Absolutely. So it was just like, it's a game that is just obviously, no LeBron, no Reeves, but like they also had nobody,
Yeah.
right? So it's just like with all due respect, but also
Mark
it's
Jackson. Mark Jackson.
I had to do that shout out, but it's a game that it was just a little difficult, and I think also because like Luka had by his standards a low scoring output, 22 points, right?
Yeah.
And we'll get more into that because I actually want to talk a little bit more about how a player Luka is in that sense. But Luka had only 22 points, so it's just like when he wasn't having his typical Luka game, and nobody else stepped up because nobody really stepped up other than Luka, but like nobody else really contributed a lot to that game. I felt like I think we played poorly. That's what happens, We don't get a regular Luka game. Other players don't step up. Like even if the Hawks are shorthanded, like in the NBA nowadays, there's so many good players that if you're not playing well, you'll lose. Even if it's a quote unquote bad team, you'll lose.
Absolutely. No,
In that
absolutely.
sense.
So then my follow-up question to you is, do you feel like the Lakers just like underestimated that Hawks team coming into this game?
Yeah, the underestimated the Hawks and they got outplayed. Simply like as simple as that. Who knows, how injured Reeves even was, right? Because I know a lot of the times, these injuries is more like, oh, we don't need to play him for this game because it's a shorthanded Hawks team and stuff like that. Who knows, like not to discredit his injury or anything like that, but a lot of these injuries are strategic sit downs as well, strategic rest, right? So it's like, and it's like if it was in the playoffs, he'd be playing. But it's like, oh, it's the shorthanded Hawks. Maybe we could sit him. I think we're going to see a lot of that with LeBron too.
As we should
So,
with LeBron.
yeah, for sure. And I think look, like LeBron, it makes sense. He's 40, about to be 41.
Yeah.
18, 19. I don't even know what season he's in anymore, right? 18,
Like
19,
19 or something like that.
He's
20.
been playing forever. So no more because he got drafted in 03. So we're way past 18. What was I saying?
I think it's like 23rd, 22nd or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. I just look at it by Isaiah. I don't at this point, there's no point in even trying to keep up because it just
No,
keeps
that's crazy. It's just 41. That's it.
But yeah, I think with him, yeah, he should be getting his rest. But guys like that, I think it was part of underestimating, not just from the players, but from the coaching staff, from everybody. I think just underestimating what the Hawks would be doing, and credit to them. But not to go unnoticed, Jared Vanderbilt, 18 rebounds. It's not a 7-footer, right? Like grabbing 18 rebounds is a great feel. Like when AD was grabbing 18 rebounds, I was singing his praises always. But like that's what he does, Vanderbilt, like he's a rebounder too, but 18, like I just don't want it to go unnoticed because we're saying people play poorly. Like Vanderbilt did what he needs to. I never expect Vanderbilt to put up double-digit scoring, right? But if what he does doesn't show up in the box score, but what does show up in his box score that he does is the rebounding, and he took care of that on against the Hawks.
Absolutely. Okay. And if you don't have do you have anything else to add for the Hawks?
Not on the Hawks, no.
Okay, let's keep it pushing. Let's get to the next game, and that was Lakers versus Hornets. We got a bounce back win in that game, beating them 122-111. AR's first game back from injury, but this was a real Luka Doncic game, but also a team effort. Luka had 38. He had it going all night long. Big shout out to Rui, who finished the night with 21 points and had 13 of those 21 in that third quarter. And that's really where the Lakers won, and they pull off in that third quarter. But like I said, great overall team win, right? Luka had 38. AR had 24. Rui had 21. Ayton had 14. Marcus Smart had 13. I mean, it was really the starting five. The bench didn't really give us much, which is something we'll touch on here. But any thoughts here on this Hornets game? Great to see the Lakers get a win.
Came in the same way I came into the Hawks game, excited, right? I was like, all right, like Melo ball. They were missing a couple of players, so I was like, I think it's another game where I feel like we should win. Like the same way you have scheduled losses, you have scheduled wins as well. And I felt like the Hawks was supposed to be that, and the Hornets was supposed to be that this time around, And this time it paid off. This time it worked out, and we were winning. Played pretty well, like you said. Reeves came back and dropped 24. Luka with another damn near 40-point game. But like you said, most importantly is contribution from everybody. You listed out the stats, and I had the numbers too here on my notes. Same deal. Like I love to see the team effort there. How I talked about in the Hawks game, how there wasn't a lot of contributions from a lot of players. In this game there was, and that made all the difference. That's the difference between executing or not in this league. So it was great to see a good team effort. And yeah, shout out to Rui too, man. Like you gave him a shout out there. Like he's playing. I don't know what got into him, but he's balling, man. he's balling. I love to see it because there was a lot of talk last year that he was like before last season started, he was working out with LeBron and really honing in his game. And I saw it at the beginning, but it was like it would come in waves and stuff like that. But recently, he's been really petering out and been just like a good consistent player. Like he's been shooting. I mean, he's been like there was a couple these last few games. He's shooting like 50%.
Yeah,
So like
he's like
he's
top
been
5 in the league right now for 3-point
yeah
shooting.
he's been playing. He's been playing and like this mid range is like automatic now. He's looking like DeMar DeRozan from the mid range
Yeah,
recently.
he just
He's
rising
been
up, getting to it,
sinking
right?
threes. He's been great. And I guess since we're just talking about Rudy, and it's not a game, but I want to just take a quick detour here because we were talking about this earlier.
Mhm.
Undroppable players, like I think Rudy's becoming one of those guys
Ooh, I
from the
don't think.
starting five. The reason I say that is, and here's why. Let me give you my reason.
Mhm.
Rui is excelling because of who is around him too. So you have Luka finding him. I think Luka finding him gives him is part of the reason why he's doing so well. I'm very comfortable to say LeBron's going to find him the same way, right? And I think if you bring Rui off the bench and he doesn't have a Luka, a LeBron, somebody helping him create these opportunities, he's not as good or as efficient. So when I say undroppable, I don't mean Rui Hachimura is irreplaceable. But I mean, Rui Hachimura on the starting five, Rui Hachimura coming off the bench are going to give you two different experiences. And I think the Lakers benefit more from Rui being in the starting lineup. That's what I mean with undroppable. And I think he's there because, and then also look at the replacement that would be for him. Jared Vanderbilt, no disrespect, but
Yeah.
completely different type of player, you know?
Yeah. Well,
What do
well,
you think about that?
well. When you said undroppable, I'm thinking you're mean like untradeable. Okay, but
No,
undroppable.
from the starting
Got
lineup because we
got
were talking about
Okay,
that earlier.
got you. Yeah, okay, got you. Yeah, I agree. So, to your exact point of who is around him,
Yeah,
and to your exact point of who's behind him, like
yeah,
there's no real competition there. But no,
yeah.
I agree. As long as like Rui can keep playing like that, because that is a good point that you make. Because I'm looking here at his stats, and last year shot. I mean, granted, we're looking at a whole season versus 13 games, so smaller sample size. But
And
last
we had so many changeovers. Like it was an
yeah,
AD LeBron team, Luka LeBron, two completely different
two
teams.
different teams, right? But
Yeah,
last year, shot 41% from three. Right now, as I mentioned, top 5 in the league, shooting 50% from the 3-point line. Uh,
crazy, crazy. That's one out of every two shots. That's
and it, right,
insane.
and out of your and to your exact point, right? I bet because a lot of those is he's getting looks he's never seen in his life and it's wide open.
Yeah,
Luka's slinging that thing across court because
yeah.
they're just so pay attention to Luka. And he's just spot up in that little wing corner. Wow, just shooting that every time and then
It's
taking players off the
perfect.
dribble.
It's perfect. And like LeBron's gonna get attention too, of course, right? So like
Absolutely.
LeBron's gonna get attention, Luka's gonna get attention. Somebody's gonna have to be manning the post for Deandre Ayton. Like he's almost gonna become like a fourth. If Marcus Smart is on the floor, he's probably the fourth scoring option, right? So the defense is thinking about that the same way, right? Like he's a
Mhm.
fourth option. And if Reed is on the floor, he's literally the fifth option. And that's the best fifth option in the league. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. I know I am, but I'm just thinking like who's who's as good of a fifth option? Like fifth options, these are end of the bench guy. Not end of the bench, but these are guys that like I mean it's a fifth
Me
option.
guys, right? Yeah, it's the fifth option on the team. No, I hear what you're
Like
saying.
like 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 think about that. Like if you go down a list of fifth options on the team, I
Yeah.
don't know if there's anybody better than Rui Hachimura, right?
When we look at like fifth scoring options, because if we're
Fifth scoring.
yeah,
Yeah.
because if we look at fifth scoring options, because I mean, like, there's different. Like a center wouldn't be your first option, maybe for scoring, but
Yeah.
he would be someone that you could go through. You can run your offense through, but he might
Yeah.
not be scoring the ball.
I mean, it depends. Like Embiid was that for a long time in Philadelphia.
But Embiid
AD,
he's the number
yeah,
one option.
yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, but like, I think I haven't watched a lot of Mavericks this season, but like, I feel
Mhm.
like AD is probably that, right? I don't know. Unless Cooper Flag just
But
balling the fuck out.
AD has struggled to stay on the court
Yeah, I know. I see.
as me and you know very
I
well.
see.
He
Yeah,
struggled to stay on the court. But
yeah,
I have a really good question for you, real quick, and I
yeah.
really want your opinion on this. So, do you feel like the Lakers are at their best when Luka's got it going on? And when I say Luka's got it going on, I mean like scoring, diamond up Ayton on that pick and roll. Which when Luka has it going on, it's great, but in reality, it's kind of still heliocentric basketball. It's pick and roll with Luka and the big man, and then you get shooters around him. Don't get me wrong, great offense, right? But it's
Yeah.
still nonetheless heliocentric. Do you feel like the Lakers are best when they got that going on, or do you feel like the Lakers are best when we play like how we did in this Hornets game where everybody contributes, right? Luka 38, AR 20, Rui 20, Ayton 14, Smart 13. Like, how do you feel about that? When you
I think this game where everybody contributes, like I think that's all. In my opinion, that's always the answer because if you can get contributions from anybody, that just opens up the game so much. If Rui's hot now, they know they can't leave him open anymore, right? So then maybe you're more hesitant to double Luka. Like you get to spread the load. Plus, you gotta like we'll get to this when we talk about the Pelicans game, but like you got Luka facing double team for 48. I mean, he's not playing all 48, right? But he's playing for 4 quarters facing a double team. Like it's gonna wear him down. It wears anybody down, right? You got somebody having to handle all the load by themselves for most of the game. It's gonna wear him down. And then if we're spreading the ball around, by the time if it comes down to the wire and we need a clutch bucket, I have Luka ready to take it, as opposed to Luka that's just been driving the entire offense all game long, and now I need to ask him to do this again, right?
absolutely,
So I think anytime that we can get contributions from everybody, like I'd be happy. I would love it if I don't even care if Luka, because Luka's like leading the league in points per game right now. I think officially he's not because he hasn't played enough games or minutes or
yeah,
something, but I think he will soon. But he's averaging like 35 points a game, right? So I don't care if Luka averaged 25 points a game, but then everybody else got raised, right? Everybody else goes up because if we're spreading around, it's just I think it's always the right answer. You getting contributions from everybody. You're not relying on one player. It's like I mean you remember how it is. You remember how when those Kobe days, Kobe goes down, there's nobody left. There's
yeah.
nobody left, and
But
he's
in
everything
this
else.
particular question, I agree with you. But in this particular question, I'm not saying like Luca's carrying and nobody else is doing anything. I'm saying this in the sense of like when Luca got it going on and
Yeah,
he's scoring and he's getting Aiden easy buckets because now
yeah,
Aiden's getting open, and then he's also getting shooters in the corner some open looks because now they're so much more open because Luca's got it going on so much.
yeah.
So like that's more what I meant. But you still lean on the side of like
I
having
still
that
do.
overall team? Okay.
I still do. I still do because I think that like Luca always makes it always gets his.
Yeah.
And that's what I was we'll talk about it a little bit more later because I wanted to talk about
But
the difference between a good player and a great player.
yeah, I
And
mean, let's get into it. I mean, we don't got to go anywhere. Let's
yeah,
get
for
into it. Like,
sure, for sure.
I was gonna
So
get
like
into the OKC game next, so let's just get into
yeah.
it. Instead.
what OKC game?
Why not?
I don't think
We
I
played
don't think
OKC. What?
I don't think. Oh, the friendly. Yeah, I know that was just a preseason game. That actually didn't count. Uh,
Now let's
no,
get
but
into it. Let's
I
talk
think
to it.
I think so. Like the difference with Luka and and any player is just like the difference between a great player and a good player is a good player because I was going to talk about this when we came to the Pelicans game because it was the
Yeah.
same deal. It was a team effort. Everybody contributed. Good player is there's like they're always playing. They're playing good, but they're not playing good every single game, right? So you see them playing well. Like Rui, for example. I'm going back to the Hornets because I have the stats here in front of me. Rui dropping 21. Rui is capable of dropping 20 points a game any game, but he cannot do it every game, right? Whereas we have Luka that is a great player and he'll drop 35, but he's always going to give you 20. He's always going to give you 20. So a great player is good every single night. A good player is good some games on, some games not. That's the difference between a good player and a great player. And I think if we have more of these good players that we have, like I think Rui is a good player. I think Ayton is a good player. I think Smart
A good
can
player
be a
for
good player.
for
I
what he
think he's a
brings
good
to a
player.
team for his
I
role.
think he's a good player. Yeah, it's just like I'm talking about. More scoring right now,
Okay.
and
All
I know
right.
his forte is more. He's got more facets of scoring. I think Reeves is a great borderline. Like he's a great borderline player. I think he's really earning. Like so, this season he's been a great player, no doubt about it, right? But I don't want to just say 13 games. Now I'm going to say this how Austin Reeves is going to be the whole season, right? But if we could get these good players involved and consistently putting in good performances, I think that's going to elevate confidence. That's going to elevate the team in general. Because, like I said, you're always going to have Luka being great. His bad game is a 20-point game. right?
Yeah.
And this is what I'm looking for, these good players to consistently give us 20-point games. If I can get 20 consistently out of Rui Hachimura, if I can get 20 consistently out of Deandre Ayton, on top of what Luka does, on top of what Austin does, on top of what LeBron does, if it wasn't for this OKC spanking that we got, I'd already be, oh boy, let's see what we got this season, right? So,
No, that's real.
so
No,
that's why I like to see the whole team
mhm.
do it, because I want to get these good players consistently putting up these good performances. And I think like the difference between good and great is obviously you have the high scoring outputs, but you look at Dalton Connect, like he had 35 last game, right? Or last season, not last game. Last season I think he had like a 35-point game.
He had a game,
And
yeah.
it's just like he can explode for these types of games, but like Luka gives you 35 every night, right?
Absolutely.
So like, or at least that's what he averages, right? So in average, you're gonna get Luka on any given night. He should be giving you around 35.
Mhm.
So it's just like you have these players that they have these, like they can get these spikes, but we need them consistently getting these 20s. I don't want to see 35 and then 5, right? I want to see you guys giving me consistently 20, because you know what you can count on, what you can expect from that player.
Yeah, yeah, that'll always be the difference between a good player and a great player is the
Is
consistency.
the
Uh,
consistency. Everybody in the league is good nowadays.
yeah.
Everybody's good. Everybody can give you, you say Dalton Connect, no disrespect, with all due respect, Dalton Connect. Um, he's not,
He's a
I
good
don't know if
basketball player, but just
I don't
like
think
it's great, yeah.
I don't think I'd put him. I don't know if I'd put him in the consistently good yet. I think he's getting there. He's young. It's the second season. I'm
Yeah.
not expecting the world out of him right now. But like he can give you 35. But if we could just get him consistently giving us 15, like that's great off the bench. Now I can't ask for
Absolutely.
much more than that
No, absolutely.
right now.
And you talking about good and great, I think that's a perfect transition. There's not really much to touch on for the OKC game. Like it was just a belt to the ass like all game long. But honestly, we talked about this over text. The better team won. We never
Yeah,
once said we were better than OKC. They're better on defensive end, offensive end, and they proved it. And
yeah.
it was only thing that was impressive is how they kept their foot on our necks all game long.
That's what
They
they
don't got
do.
no hangover. And this was all without Jalen Williams, Aaron Wiggins, and Lou Dort.
Yeah,
But the good and great, I don't know if you want to touch on that, but what I really want to ask you is, when you talk about the good and great, kind of makes me think to one of the questions that this OKC team, and I don't want to spend too much time on this. This is not an OKC pod, but I got to sometime find a way to tie it back to Lakers. This OKC team is just putting up like crazy historic numbers, right? And I don't mean beyond winning the championship. I mean number one in defensive rating last year. I mean they put up like a historically great defensive rating last season, like compared to all NBA teams that's ever won a championship. So I kind of, and it looks like they're doubling up this year, doing the same thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They brought back everybody and
yeah.
they're running it back. So
2021 Lakers could learn from that.
to learn from that, right? So my question to you is like, how do you feel like this OKC team stacks up against other great Laker teams? When I say great, it has to be championship winning.
Yeah,
So we don't got to go back to all night.
Showtime Lakers
Yeah,
and
we don't
stuff.
got to go back to Showtime Lakers, but I do want to touch on like '01 Lakers, the '08, '09 Lakers, the 9-10 Lakers, and then the 2020 Lakers. And we don't got to get nothing crazy, but just kind of how do you feel like each team would match up, or who would win that
Yeah,
matchup?
it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. I mean, especially when you talk about the three-peat in the early 2000s, like that's an interesting team because basketball was so different. We're talking about 25
Yeah,
years between eras, right? Like early 2000s to 2025. It's a very different game. Like I know we touched on it a little bit, but like we didn't have 7-footer shooting 3-pointers back in the 2000s,
that's
in the
real.
early 2000s. Like that wasn't a thing, right? So that's something that the Lakers, I don't know if they would have a response to it. I mean, Shaq's not going out to the perimeter to guard Chet Holmgren, right?
Yeah,
But then you also put Shaq in the paint with Chet Holmgren, and it's the
barbecue chicken,
finger
right?
licking special, right?
Right.
So the Michael Irvin's finger licking special. So it's different eras, different types of basketball. I think I would love to see some cross era, something kind of like that. I'm wondering who would, I guess,
What
who would be
billionaire is
guarding.
gonna make this happen?
Yeah, who would get to guard Kobe? Who'd Kobe be guarding? I mean, I feel like Kobe, just being the competitor that he is, he would want that SGA matchup.
Yeah,
I think he
yeah,
would want that SGA
100%.
matchup, right? But then like, is SGA guarding Kobe? Are they going to put Lou Dort on Kobe?
If
Like,
they are, I think they would. I think they would. That would really be. And
I
for
think,
y'all listening, y'all let us know, like in the comments, like do y'all think how would the matchups work
yeah,
and
that'd be interesting.
and and yeah, how would the matchups are the only team that I think like you can actually like is realistic to compare is the 2020 Lakers.
2020, because it's a more closer of an
Yeah,
era. Yeah,
more close. And to that one, man, I think that'd be a really good matchup to be real with you. But I think probably OKC would be taking that. I'm gonna be honest. I think they have the
I
perimeter
think so.
defenders to be able to not handle because you can't handle the type of players that we had, but just throw them, to LeBron's way, right? And then
Yeah,
AD, he would just constantly be seeing the twin tower lineups of Chet and Isaiah Hardenstein. And
yeah.
look, don't get me wrong, man. Like AD's better than both of those guys, like individually on the court, and especially that 2020 year. AD was on
Yeah,
another level.
2020,
He
AD
was on another.
robbed of the defensive player of the year. Like
Oh, for
I
sure.
will I would not back down from that
Yeah,
argument.
no,
Like
100%.
that
So
guy was a menace.
right, but and what we did to Jokic, right? Just throwing multiple bigs, throwing twin towers, making it hard for him. I think that's what they would do to us. So I think the only team, to be real with you, that I could say I think OKC would beat is that 2020 team. 2009, 2010, like it's just to your point, it's just so hard to compare the eras because
Yeah,
right, like the Lakers still have the Twin Towers lineup of Bynum and Gasol, but then still at
yeah.
the same time, right? Like, are they going to be able to come out to a player like Chet? You know what I'm saying? So, but the
It would
01
be
Lakers,
hard. Yeah, I can't imagine either of those guys on the perimeter.
exactly. But the
I,
01 Lakers, I can confidently say the Lakers will beat them. And
yeah,
off the simple, you just can't guard Shaq. And yes, 100% agree. We can't guard him on the other end. But bro, like the amount of just dumping it into Shaq, right? And then just letting Shaq either move anyone out the way, or if they just double up Shaq, kicking it out to Kobe, and now Kobe's playing somebody closing out. Like, come on, man.
for
So I'm
sure.
thinking,
No, for sure. We had D Fish posted up,
yeah,
ready to pop them. We had we had a good lineup. I think we would beat them in with the early 2000s team as well. It would be interesting though, and it wouldn't be like a 4-0 either. Like I think it
yeah,
would be
very
it'd be interesting because it's just such different eras, such different basketball. 2020, I mean, we had our version of the Twin Towers with with JaVale and with Dwight. A little bit obviously both past their prime,
yeah.
but I mean, I think it would be a little bit easier for us to actually make that, like you said, it's a little bit more comparable of eras. I think what really benefits OKC is that that they just have so many weapons. If it's not SGA, they got Chet. If it's not Chet, they got Jalen Williams. If it's not Williams, they got. I mean, Lou Dort is not really a scorer, but he's great on defense, right? But I'd say with the 2020 Lakers, we had that too. Obviously, not assuming Avery Bradley would have played, right? Because he didn't play in the bubble, and we still won without our starting point guard. Side note, but we have Avery Bradley there, who's a defensive type guard, kind of like what Marcus Smart is doing for us now. We had, I mean, Kuz is up and down, but
Yeah,
like we had a player that it's a wing that was able to give us shots, give us decent minutes. We had players like Caruso. Caruso actually, where would he play?
that is funny, actually.
Where would he play there? But
That is actually funny.
we'll take
We'll take
him.
it. We'll take it. All right, we'll take it.
He got his
It's that right there might be a difference though. Like that's a
Yeah,
difference. Like
no,
that is a
it
huge.
would.
That is a
Probably
difference.
Caruso. It probably would be Lakers Caruso versus OKC Caruso. I'll take a Lakers Caruso, but like we got players like that would just be,
Yeah.
that I think it would be a little bit more comparable. And LeBron, I mean, LeBron today is just, he's LeBron. In 2020, he was balling too,
he was still
right?
balling, bro. I
So,
mean, led the league in assists that year. So
yeah, and so we got I honestly like I don't know if I'm so easily would have OKC winning. Now that I think about this a little bit better, that Lakers team was nasty. Like
the team
people
was
just
nasty,
talk
but
about the
the
bubble because
OKC team is real deep. I'm gonna be honest with you.
it
They're
is,
about
it
like 10
is.
deep.
But people talk about the bubble like it was like this outlier event. Like people forget the Lakers were
Nah,
like
no, people don't
dogging
that
teams.
shit is.
Yeah, we don't even have to get into
They would
that.
have
But
did
like
that. They would
Lakers,
have did that. That is the dumbest statement I hear.
the Lakers were dogging teams that season. We were the number one seed. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
That's,
we
yeah.
were dogging. Like we in the beginning of that season, we're like, we're
Mhm.
taking this chip. This is our year for sure.
Yeah,
What
we
Aiden
knew that
was,
was our year.
yeah, like, and it's I think it's just a surprise to people who don't watch the Lakers. But if you're watching them week in, week out, like we know, like yeah, we're dogging most of these teams. So I
Right.
think it'd be interesting. And I mean, I didn't give a lot of love to 2009 and to the 2010 era. It's completely different. That one, I actually feel like more that I'd probably give that more to OKC
Mhm.
than to the
To the Lakers.
than to the Lakers. Then actually, I think like the 2020 team actually probably more likely to beat OKC with the 2020 team than with the 2009 and 2010 teams.
That's fair. That's fair. I
Um,
respect
just
it.
different. Like there's nobody's going to be able to keep up with Chet in the perimeter or anything like that. I think the with the 2000 with the 2002 teams, it's just like we didn't have the perimeter, but we were so much better in the paint, right? That like it almost it works out. With the 2020 team, I think we had ways that we could, properly coached, we can win that series. The 2009 team is just like we can't keep up with the perimeter, but our paint presence while being good was like Andrew Bynum was in Shaquille O'Neal, right? And
Yeah.
Gasol was more of a soft touch around the paint, a little bit more, like he had a really good touch, but he wasn't over like powering dudes like Shaq was.
Like Shaq would. No, that's
So
fair.
yeah,
That's
so
fair.
that's why I think 2009 is probably our toughest team to beat OKC.
That's fair.
But what do you think?
Honestly, I probably would agree. I'm still sticking with that. I think that the OKC could beat the 2020 team. I just think
Yeah,
they're just a little too deep in my opinion. I think the only team that
their
Lakers,
depth is amazing. It's
yeah, I think
amazing. Yeah.
the only team the Lakers really could solidly beat is the Lakers could solidly beat them is the 0-1. I think is off that Shaq's presence. Honestly,
And another thing too is just like I want to. We're talking, since it's all theoretical. I'm talking about the best version of each player on that 2020 because you remember very well, like not all the players play their best at the same time in that 2020 team, right? You remember there were times when we got Danny Green, where I was like, man, this was a steal. And there were
yeah.
times when we got Danny Green, and I was like, damn, bro. So it's just like I'm assuming we're getting the best Danny Green, the best Avery Bradley, the best AD, the best LeBron, and I think when you get to that, like that's why I like the 2020 team.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And yeah, y'all that are out there, y'all let us know as well.
For
Yeah,
sure,
so,
yeah.
but to quickly wrap up the games we had just yesterday, Lakers beat the Pelicans 118-104. I think this is a real ugly, sloppy win. One of the worst on Pelicans are one of the worst teams in the league right now. And we had to force Luka to play 40 minutes. AR played 38 against the Pelicans team without Zion. So I mean, a win is a win, but very ugly
It,
win.
it is. And I will say this. So for this game, actually, like we started out great. We came out swinging, got a huge lead early on. They cut it to two, but then we responded, right? And that was just pretty much the story of the game. We would make a lead, they would cut into it, we'd respond, right? So like in hindsight, knowing that we win the game, I feel like okay, I feel better about it in hindsight. Like, all right, we were able to keep them at bay. Like, they like I said, they would cut into the lead, but we would be able to respond and take it and keep the win. So in hindsight, it's okay. But in the moment, right? Obviously, you don't see that. You're like, man, are we blowing this lead right now? Like,
Yeah.
how are they cutting in? How is this go from 20-point lead to an 8-point lead, right? So it's stuff like that. But I think I agree with what you said. Like playing Luka for 40 minutes, that's the worst part of the game. Like we finished the third quarter with 18-point lead. And I thought in my head, I was like, perfect. Sit Luka for the rest of the game. We have a back-to-back. It's Milwaukee tomorrow, today now. But we've got Milwaukee the next game, like back-to-back. Sit Luka the rest of the fourth. That's what OKC's been doing.
Yeah.
OKC, their load management has been not playing Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in the fourth, right? So it's just like they do that. Let's try to do that. Let's try to get that done. And then boom, all of a sudden they cut the lead to 8, right? They go on a run to start the fourth, cut the lead to 8. We got to put Luka back into the game. And I think that's the part that frustrated me the most as well. It's just like, damn, like I don't even think we played bad per se.
Lack
Like I
of
know,
focus. We just couldn't lock
yeah,
in.
focus and execution. I think is what really hurt us there.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think we played bad necessarily, but what really frustrated me was just like what OKC did is they keep the foot on the necks of the opposition every game, not just against the Lakers. Every game they did that. I don't think we did that. And I think that cost us having to play Luka these extra minutes, right?
Yeah.
Playing AR these extra minutes. Like, I would have loved it if we could have taken Luka into the Bucks game with 30,
Well rested. Yeah.
32 minutes, right, max. But instead now we got to take him in with 40-minute legs the night before. So it is what it is. At the end of the game, like you said, it's a win, and that's really what matters. I don't want to harp too much on a win, but it's little things that we want to see tweaked. But 13 games into the season, I think that these are tweaks that we learn and we try to make better.
Absolutely. No, absolutely, brother. But then with that being said, brother, let's get to our last segment of the show, and that is the buy or sell. Got some statements here for you. Let me know if you're buying or if you're selling, then we can either get into a couple or not get into a couple. Really just kind of how we're feeling about it. But let me start here. Let me start here with this one, and that is are you buying or selling on Jake LaRavia and just how Jake LaRavia has been playing as of late?
I'm buying without a doubt. I think he's playing well. I think he's just been playing better and better each game. We talked about this a lot on the first week, right? It was the one that it was. I don't think you were seeing the Jake LaRavia vision yet. I don't think he had shown the Jake LaRavia vision. I don't think it's just you, right? Like, and I think now he's been showing a little bit more. Like I said, and if we go back to that first week episode, you hear I said the same thing. Like, Jake LaRavia isn't going to come out and give you like a Luka Doncic performance or even Austin Reeves performance, right? But he's a guy that's going to benefit from LeBron being out. And I think he took good advantage of this time that LeBron's been out to step up, to be a solid player off the bench. Like, I think Jake LaRavia is a guy that like isn't going to be getting like DNPs or anything like that. Like, he's been playing. He's been a solid contributor off the bench. Last night against the Pelicans, like, he had a couple of good defensive plays that turned into buckets on the other end. I saw Luka finding him and him being able to finish in traffic, finish through contact. Just being able to do that. I don't expect Jake LaRavia to go out and give you 20, 25 every day. But if I can get some solid minutes out of him and I can get 15 efficient points out of him, I'm happy, and I think he can give us that, and he's been giving us that. I don't have his stats in front of me, but he's a player that I am buying on. I like what he brings to the team, and it's the same thing we talked about on the first week recap. He was brought in to do that Dorian Finney-Smith role, but he's doing that a lot cheaper and a lot younger. Maybe not as great just yet, but a lot cheaper, a lot younger. I like what I'm getting from Jake LaRavia right now. What about you, brother?
Honestly, I'm selling, bro. I'm selling. Really? Bro. I'm gonna be honest. I'm selling. He had that. He came out and was not confident. Had that hot streak where he had that like 27-point game. Then he had a 25-point game. I think that was within like on the 29th of October, he had a 27-point game, and on the 2nd of November, he had a 25-point game. Ever since then, bro, 11, 8, 6, 5, 5, 6. Like, honestly, and to be real with you, bro, the last couple of games, like, look, the Hornets game, he had 6 points and went 0-3 from the 3-point line in 24 minutes. In the OKC game, he had 5 points, went 1 of 4 from the 3-point line in 22 minutes. In the Pelicans game, he had 6 points, didn't even attempt a 3 in 21 minutes. And in my worst part of all this, and in my opinion, is the fact that he doesn't even look confident. Like, he's out there. Yeah. He's out there just like, especially in that Pelicans game yesterday, he had a turnover where he bringing the ball up court, and then like he didn't even know who to pass it to. He ended up just getting stuck in air and passed it out of bounds. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, like, this is not like middle school hoops, high school hoops. Like, you cannot be not confident, right? Like, I'm not asking you to put up 27. I'm not even asking you to put up. I know you said like put up 15. Like, if he puts up 15, great. I'm not even asking for that. But at the absolute least, like, be confident in yourself. Be confident in your dribble. Take shots confidently. Dribble the ball confidently. And I'm just not seeing that from him.
I hear you, and I think that like, I still, like, for what we got him for, I still am buying. I'm still keeping him. I still think he's got a spot on this team. But I agree, he's not perfect, and I think like a player of his caliber is bound to make mistakes like that from every once in a while. So I don't think it's going to be this thing where it's just Jake LaRavia show, like the 27-point game. That probably was a high water mark for the season, right? Like, I don't think he's dropping another 27-point game. But if we could just be consistent from him, that's all I can really ask for. But then let me ask you, when I say you're selling, you mean that figuratively, or is he a player that you'd be actively looking to trade to move off of the roster for,
Well, I mean, and he's definitely available to go, but I just mean, and in this sense, I'm more of just like, I'm just selling Jake. I'm not buying the Jake LaRavia stock. That's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not buying the Jake LaRavia stock.
Okay.
But next buy or sell here, brother. It's probably it might be the last one we get to here is man, I'm gonna be honest, brother. I don't know what is going on with the world. They just forgot that Luka Doncic is Luka Doncic and
Dog.
is leading the league in technically leading the league in scoring, but because like I
Yeah.
said, minutes and games like doesn't qualify yet. But after the OKC game, Luka has a relatively bad game. Luka standards has 19 points. People are just dropping him down in the MVP ladder. Right now, he's currently number 4 in the MVP ladder. So, are you buying or selling on still Luka being an MVP this year? I mean, I think we both
Buying,
predicted it,
buying, and I'm buying. Dropping out a letter, and I get to buy cheaper and then cash out later.
right?
That is that no, I'm buying. The guy's leading the league in scoring. Like
Come
he's
on,
leading the league in scoring, and it's not just like he's just a scorer and he's doing nothing else. He's facilitating. He's dropping I don't know if he got a double last game. This guy is a double machine. If he's not rebounding, he's assisting. If he's not he's always doing something. So
yeah,
I think he's no, I'm buying for sure. Who's leading the ladder? Do you have it in front of you?
yeah. It's Jokic. It's Jokic, and then it's Shea, and then it's Giannis, and then it's Luka,
Wow.
and then it's
No,
Wemby, and then it's
it's
Wemby,
huh?
and then it's Wemby at number 5.
I was gonna say I thought they were gonna probably put Wemby ahead of him, just hype.
Yeah.
But
I mean that ladder moves so much every single day, but but I feel like especially like the way that the OKC just dogged us like that, like
yeah,
that will move the needle for
for this
just
week,
exactly
yeah,
for naysayers, but
yeah,
it's a long road. It's an 82 game season. I
for sure, yeah.
stand strong and buying on Luka
We
MVP.
don't know what the season's got ahead, but no, for now, absolutely buying on Luka MVP. We're looking at this 13 game sample size. Like this worst game was 19 points. Like
Absolutely. But
I'm absolutely buying.
what about Luka's counterpart? What about Ayton? Are you buying or selling on Ayton? How you been feeling about him?
Buying, dude. I don't know if I hope I don't run out of money because I'm buying on everything right now, man. Like Ayton, man, he's been a monster. I actually like. All right, let me walk that back a little bit.
I mean, he's been pretty good though.
He's been
Maybe
great.
not a monster, but he's been pretty good.
I really, yeah. I use that word on AD a lot, so I don't want to already put him in AD status, but he's been great. He's been great. I really like what I'm seeing. And you know what I was thinking? I was watching the game yesterday, and I was thinking, you know what, John? We got Luka and Ayton for AD because if we don't have Luka, Ayton is not coming. He's not going to come to a team that's got AD, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he could, but then, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a contract year for him. Like, he wants somewhere where he's going to get the touches. He's going to be the primary big man. So we got Ayton for cheap and Luka for AD. Like, what a trade! What a trade! Like, we need to add Ayton to that trade. Like the same way, like AD wasn't coming to the Lakers in 2020, in 2019, had it not been for LeBron being on the team. Like, it's the same deal now. Ayton is not coming without Luka here to be that, to play with Luka. Players come to play with players like Luka, like LeBron, like,
Absolutely.
stars like that, especially players that like go so hand in hand with their game. So I am buying on Ayton. I think he's been good. He's been solid. I really like what I saw from him in the Pelicans game. I mean, I think he was aggressive. He was out there. Like, I saw him getting in the post, some footwork in the post. Like, I haven't seen footwork in the post like in a minute. So it's just like footwork in the post. He's being able to finish, I think, through some contact. He's been, I see him getting second chance points, putting him up there. Like, I really like what I'm seeing. And you know what? The best thing I'm seeing that I'm liking about Ayton, availability, the best type of ability. He's just been out there. I think he's missed like one game. And it's just like I said in the beginning of this pod, everybody's getting an injury, everybody's missing time. It's a given in the NBA nowadays, right? But Ayton's been available. Like, I think that's the biggest difference with him and coming from AD. Like, no disrespect to AD, you know how much I like AD as a player.
Yeah.
Like, no, I would not. And I'm the last person to be like, oh, injury, da, da, da. Like, I always defended AD, so I'm not even like saying it, but like realistically, he was missing games, and now to have our starting big available consistently, again, 13 game sample size, but I can't say this is the whole season, but I can also only judge on what has happened.
What you've
This
seen.
all that we have is to go off of this. Then this is what we have, and he's been playing well. He's been available. He's been pairing with Luka well, which we all knew was going to happen. So I'm super buy on Ayton. Out of all the three topics we've had,
Mhm.
LaRavia, Luka MVP, and Ayton, this is where I'm buying the most.
I
DeAndre
like
Ayton.
that. I like that. I like that. I'm buying the most still on the Luca on the Luca one, but I'm also buying here on this. And yeah,
Yeah,
you hit the point, the nail on the head, brother. I mean, he's provided us the rim protection we need. He's provided us the cleaning the glass that we need. He's provided us that partner, next to Luca. So yeah, he opens up the floor. Loving that little
a
midi he
lot.
got to.
And now Jackson Hayes is actually looking decent coming off the
Right?
bench.
He's honestly
Like
one of I said this a couple episodes ago. I think he's one of the
I remember.
greater
Yeah.
backup bigs in the league, to be honest. One
And
of the
I
best
wasn't
ones.
feeling that. You said that. And I wasn't feeling that because I think I was just a little hurt from the playoffs and
Yeah.
his performance there, right? Or like not even hurt from his performance, but like, he basically ended up playing no minutes at the when
Yeah,
it
because he
mattered the
couldn't be
most,
trusted.
right?
I mean, yeah, JJ
Yeah.
couldn't trust him.
So
But
so it's
yeah, I
like
mean,
to have him
but
come
to
off
your
the
point
bench.
though, all we have is 13 games to go
Yeah.
off of. So in these 13 games, I think he's been one of the best backup bigs in
He's
the
been
league, to
good.
be honest.
He's been good. He's been good. It's like it's just elevated everybody. I love
Absolutely.
what I'm seeing from Ayton so far, and dude for $8 million a year, man, like
Come on.
crazy. He's gonna want us back this summer though. But hey, I want him to want his back. That means he played his ass off.
Earn it. Yep.
That's all I want. Let us figure out when it comes to the summer if what we need to do to make it work. If it makes sense to continue with Ayton, but for this year we have him, and I want him to ball out like he's been doing. So
Exactly.
I really like Ayton so far.
Exactly, brother.
Can I give you one
Yes.
quick
Talk to me.
buy sell?
Talk to me.
Do you think Lakers are finishing top 4 seed?
Um, I don't. I'd have to go sell on that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think OKC be better than us. I think Nuggets will be better than us.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I
I
thought.
think it's hard to say Minnesota's not even better than us, meaning that they knocked us out in the playoffs last year.
We got better. Our team is different. Our team got knocked out last season because it's like what Palinka said.
We
We
didn't
try to
have the
build a
big.
plane in the middle of the sky.
Absolutely.
We're shaped now for a Luka LeBron team as opposed to a plug and play, remove AD, move Luka in type team.
That's fair. That's fair. But I mean, I don't know. I also feel like in the same way, like they also improved, but also not even if you don't want to go Timberwolves, I think
Minnesota, yeah.
you could still say the Rockets. I feel like
Yeah, I
they
have
could be
Houston
better than
ahead.
us. And also, I'm gonna be honest, sleeper pick the Spurs. Like the Spurs aren't gonna lose many games. I'm telling you, that Spurs team is left. Wimby stay out there, and De'Aaron Fox just came back, and they got Stephon Castle still hooping. They got a great bench. I think that team can surprise a lot of people and end up staying relatively healthy and then finishing as that top four as top four. I think best case scenario we finish in the top 4 seed. Worst case scenario we finish in the 6.
Yeah, I like it. Like I think if you told me like top 6 buy sell, I'm buying. Top 5 buy sell, I'm buying. Top 4,
Yeah,
it's dicey, but just to roll with everything I've been rolling with here, I'm a buy too.
come on, come
But I
on.
agree. I think OKC, I think Denver, I think Houston. Those are 3 teams that I have ahead, and I agree. I think Minnesota. I think probably we finish ahead of Minnesota. San Antonio though is a good one. Like I mean, Wemby just keeps elevating that game, and this is before they get De'Aaron Fox back.
Yeah,
This is like this they got a good team. And shout out Thiago Splitter, but I wanna see what happens. And plus, like it's tough to call it now because an injury to any of these teams could completely
change
derail
everything.
that, right? Like
Absolutely.
Jokic goes down, there goes them. Wemby goes down, anybody, then that could remove them from that top 5, But I think those top 5, like aside from OKC, I think OKC is pretty nailed on at number 1. I think Denver's probably nailed on at number 2 for now. But I think that Houston, Lakers, Spurs, like it's gonna be like this, what are we gonna get from KD? Right. So
Absolutely.
it's gonna be interesting. But
It'll
I
be
just wanted to get you.
it'll be an interesting finish. It'll be an interesting finish here in the West.
Yeah,
Like always,
crazy,
West
as
is always
always.
crazy, man. But man, all right, brother. Well, I think it's a good episode, brother. I appreciate you coming on here. Had some great talks. Talked to recap the week. Talked about some LeBron. returning into the lineup, and then we finished up here, with some buy or sells. But we do have the Bucks game here coming up soon. This is we're recording before the Bucks game. Probably should say at the
Yeah.
beginning, but yeah, recording before the Bucks game. But you have anything else to say, brother, before we sign off here?
No, that was another great episode. Like, just make sure you tuning in to Lakers Corner, following on all the socials, because like that's where all the updates are at. Great long form content, great short form content. Like, it's just if you're a Lakers fan, if you love Lakers, if you want to talk Lakers, this is the place to be.
Yes, sir,
I
brother.
appreciate you having me on.
All good, brother. Always appreciate you coming on. Yep, like our Junior said, make sure y'all check out all the socials. Make sure y'all subscribe. But for now, we out of here, y'all. Peace.
Peace.